willing to.
Forward, halt, left, 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 right, your left, 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 right. Down, down,
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit the news. No clue what they were about to do.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome to the Finish This Fight Hour. It is Tuesday, 3 p.m.-ish Eastern. I say ish because it might be a few minutes after that. But here we are. Like this third week starting. I don't know. We're in January of 26. Can y'all believe how quickly 25 went by? Pretty crazy. So we've had one show starting last week. I promised you a couple of good ones this week. Before we get into this one, let me tell you one tomorrow. And I want you to tune in. It's not going to be on the Finish This Fight Hour, although it's a joint show with Uncle Tonto, Maurice, the LA native patriot, going to be on his channel on X. It's also going to be on Rumble at the Patriot Prayer Network. We've got Craig Sawyer, the Saw Man, coming on. Y'all, he is kicking butt, taking names. If you don't know who he is, you need to be there because y'all are going to be amazed, heartbroken, and inspired all at the same time. So join us tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. But let me get right into today's show. And I want to welcome to you and welcome to him. And y'all say hello to my brother from another mother, or might be my brother from another sister. I don't know. But we're both rednecks, so there's no telling where the lineage might come from.
Hey.
This is Tim Dillard. What's up, Tim Dillard?
Glenn Baker, how's Florida today? What's the temperature down there?
I have 78 degrees, but it's not sunny. We actually got some rain last night. Cold front came through. I think it got to 58.
Wow. I didn't know it ever got that cold down there.
Yeah, it barely does, man. But people are already, they got their scarves on and their long jackets, and so they're freezing.
Yeah, I'm in the Houston area today, where I've been spending most of my time getting ready for all these things that are going on, and they sprayed us for 3 days, and they were spraying at night. The big chemtrails. You wake up in the morning, and there's just crisscross chemtrails all over the sky.
We not got rid of that yet.
And I'll tell you what, man. And then yesterday, I just started sneezing, and I mean, I sneezed easily over 100 times, probably over 200. And then after you sneeze that much, then every bone in your head is aching from the impaction and compaction.
So what you're saying, if I call you bonehead, I'm really speaking the truth.
That would be where I'm at. That's what we aspire to be called. So
yeah, it's crazy. All these chemtrails all over the U.S. And a couple of states have outlawed them, but I don't think it's stopped that yet either.
No, that's I know Tennessee outlawed it, and then I've seen numerous reports that they're still spraying in Tennessee, and I mean, you got big government contracts paying state reps and local reps and U.S. reps and senators and judges and politicians and mayors and governors, and they'll pass a law and then not do anything about it, because what is anybody going to do? You know, I was telling my wife yesterday, there's just got to be somebody we can sue to stop all this stuff.
Man, I don't know. Tim, I'm 58 years old, my friend, and I just really kind of woke up to all this crap. 2017, what's that, 8 years ago? Not something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was always one of these guys that, man, I just love my country, man. patriotic, thought it always had the best interest at heart for its people. For me, I'm a veteran. I am disgusted with the level of evil and corruption that just this old dumb redneck has found out about in the last 8 years. It's disgusting to me, brother.
Yeah, no, is that okay? I had a light muted. I needed to turn that on. Is that light?
Oh yeah, you're fine. You look sexy as socks on a rooster.
Yeah, my bandaged nose. So that's going to be my trademark. Well, yeah, no. Let's start out talking about Venezuela. What have you heard about Venezuela?
Brother, I don't think I've introduced you to Debbie Ferris. Had Debbie Ferris on last week, great friend of mine. She's a Chinese ancestral lady. She's from China, originally not born there. She was born in Panama, raised in Venezuela, and then educated in Mexico, and now a Chinese citizen. She's got quite a pedigree, man. Marketing degree and an engineering degree. Sharp, smart lady. She's run some campaigns down here.
She sounds almost as smart as me.
She's close. I mean, I think threw one up. Yeah, about that same caliber. She's run campaigns down here recently, but she's only been involved in politics here for 5 years. But here's the advantage: is she got to see, her and her family got to see Venezuela when it was wonderful, and got to see it as it started going downhill. And father was the CEO of a pretty big company in Venezuela, and they sold it all and got out in the 90s, man. So
smart.
Yeah. So she's pointed out some stuff to me last week that I was just absolutely blown away by the similarities. Now, obviously, the United States is a much larger country than Venezuela, but it's happening in almost identical styles. You know, the socialism is crept in. It's not even creeping in anymore. It's just blowing in now. You know, the election fraud that's taken place, same thing happened in Venezuela. And oh, by the way, some not so new, but new to a lot of people, evidence coming out that Venezuela has been controlling about 70 countries' elections for the last many decades. So there's such similarities to there. But Tim, let me dig into your head. What do you see going on in Venezuela?
Well, 72 countries have had their elections controlled out of there since for the last 23 years, I think. 72 countries. And it's done with the software that was and machinery that was developed there by the Brits and the Chinese. And them, along with our CIA, are the ones that funded the color revolution in Venezuela to put Chavez in control. And they had a whole plan to use it as a cutout and then use that as their cutout so that it's not the controlling of elections isn't happening on British soil or Chinese soil. It's happening on Venezuelan soil. And to do that, they needed to make sure that they didn't have any changes in government. So communism is the political embodiment of Satan, according to Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Then I'm one of the few guys that can spell Solzhenitsyn, so you can test me on that a little later.
Can you really? I'm impressed.
It's not easy. It's got Z's and Y's in it, so it's a different word. But Solzhenitsyn was the one that wrote Gulag Archipelago, was a writer that exposed everything that was going on in the Soviet Union. They couldn't stop him for some reason. They wouldn't kill him. But so he terms communism as the political embodiment of Satan. And that's what it is. That's what they've brought in. That's why you've got all the stuff happening in Minnesota and everywhere else in the country now. It's the same color revolution that happened in Venezuela. And the friends were right to get out because Venezuela was targeted. And so they took over. The British and Chinese have been running elections through Venezuela. They developed the software for the machinery that was developed there in Miami using Venezuelan technologists and Chinese technologists. And they developed the Smartmatic as Dominion software, Smartmatic machines, I think it's.
Yeah. And you know, the founder and CEO was a resident of West Palm for a long time. He lived right up here.
Yeah, that's right. So, and the number of people on their payroll, the number of local district attorneys and state attorney generals and judges and Supreme Court judges and senators and some of those people don't even know they're on that payroll. They just know that they're told what to do and what not to do.
Right.
And And so that was ostensibly the real reason we went into Venezuela. But Venezuela is just chock full of rare earth minerals, which is what's used in all the computers and all the machinery now. And it's so rich in minerals and even diamonds and gold that it's sitting in the open in places. I mean, it's just so rich with so many minerals and gold and silver. And then that's where you get to the one that they have the most of, which is oil. And, apparently millions of years ago, all the dinosaurs decided to go to Venezuela, and 5 miles down, they must have dug a big hole to all die in, because there must have been billions and billions of dinosaurs that decided to die in that one place.
Well, I think there really was. I heard there was an all-inclusive dinosaur resort there, and that's what attracted them.
Right, and the Spindletop well that near Houston, there in the Beaumont area, that exploded in early 1900s is still pumping oil out. So there must have been I think the dinosaurs probably coordinated where they wanted to die, and that's how evolution works. And so they all went and they piled up in this big hole so that in the future we could then find that one place where they all died, so that we could get some oil out of it.
Well, you're nailing the head, or nailing the nail on the head, or hitting the nail on the head. I don't know how that goes.
I've taken a nail in the head before. It's not fun.
Nail in the head, dude. The ability of evil, and I'm not even going to say the left, because the right does it too. The ability of evil to market something differently than what it actually is,
right?
To value it the way they want to value it, to cause it to people to tend for it to think it's going to be scarce. It amazes me. So let's talk about, a movement like Black Lives Matter. Well, no kidding. Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. No kidding. Let's talk about fossil.
I'm more a believer that black shirts matter, but that's a different story. Okay.
But let's talk about fossil fuels. And that's what you're talking about right now, brother. Fossil fuels. My gosh, we're going to run out of oil by 2020.
Well,
where's the line, my friend?
Well, that opens up the proverbial Pandora's box that I can talk about for the rest of the show. And in the legend that is my own self, and the only one who believes in it, it's incredibly interesting, because that all happened all at the same time of everything that was happening that laid the foundation for the overthrow of America, the downfall of America, that foamed the runway so that all these leftists could then form the color revolution and overthrow the United States. And
do I hear something about the Federal Reserve coming?
The Federal Reserve was the least of the things that had to do with that. It was actually the result of all the other things they had to do, so that when they took control of the money supply, they had everything else in place. And that history, that ties into what we were talking to earlier too. Everybody talks about how Nixon took us off the gold standard, but has anybody ever told you the reason why he did that?
I think I've heard that reason, but I'd rather be educated by Tim Dillard. Talk about that.
Well, that and $3 we can go get a bad cup of coffee at Starbucks. Which
you take me a lot more money to go to Starbucks, my friend.
Yeah, I don't support them.
I ain't driving through that woke drive-through at all.
No, I'm considering getting a nose ring. So if I do that, then I feel like I'll feel more at home at Starbucks.
Well, you're going to have to dye your gray pink
now,
too.
I got to say, because I was sneezing all day yesterday, my nose is still itching. So I've never done cocaine, never done drugs. But if I'm scratching my nose, it's because they sprayed us for 3 straight days here. And it is up my nose and it's itching constantly. So
talk to me about the gold standard then, my man.
So Nixon takes us off the gold standard 71, 72. And his Secretary of State was who? Henry Kissinger, a Jewish immigrant Nazi, was the Secretary of State. So why did he do that? Well, the story that's given is not the full story. It's not even a pinch of the story. So, and you can't just say, well, it's because of Meyer Lansky. And everybody knows that name. Have you ever seen the movie The Godfather?
I have.
Did you see Godfather 2?
Probably.
So there was a rich Jewish mobster named Hyman Roth in that movie. He had the famous scene where Michael comes to accuse him without accusing him of trying to shoot him in his home. And Hyman Roth, the Jewish gangster in Cuba, says, you know, I didn't ask who gave the order to kill Mo Green. I didn't ask who gave it. And he says, and he's teaching young Michael now, the new Don. He says, and he's coughing because he's sick. And he goes, this is the business we have chosen. Well, Hyman Roth's character was based on Meyer Lansky, to the point that Meyer Lansky called the actor that played Hyman Roth in the movie and said, you performed perfectly. That was me. That was me. So now when you ask the gold standard, if you don't know who Meyer Lansky is, you don't know why we got off the gold standard, why we're in the mess we are in economically, why there's trillions of dollars going out of our treasury every year to all kinds of evil things, why there's pedophiles being supported, why there's underground cities, why. You don't know unless you know that reason. It is a pivotal moment in American history that is not very well studied or spoken about. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. Is that okay?
That's absolutely okay. And I want to give you an unsolicited caveat about the Godfather movies. You and I both know someone whose husband was integral part of the.
I don't want to bring that person's name up on this because I respect that person, male or female, way too much. But we do know. I can tell you that I married a green-eyed, red-headed Italian chick, as beautiful woman as there's ever been on the planet. And that was 30 years. We had our first time together 30 years and 10 days ago. And that means something to me. She's like, why do you even think about that stuff? I mean, she's Italian. So she's like, what are we eating? At breakfast, we sit down to eat. And she goes, this is what we're going to have for lunch and dinner. At lunch, she goes, this is what we're going to be eating for dinner. And here's what I want to have for breakfast tomorrow. Everything is food. It's an amazing culture. So
I just wanted to throw that caveat in. You can continue now.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that have connections to the Cosa Nostra. And I went to an all male, mostly Italian high school in Shreveport, Louisiana, which was a lot of fun because I had a lot of friends like Tony Sardisco and Tony Gregorio and Stephen Pernici and Tony Papa, Tony Renato, Anthony Renato. I mean, it was something else. Limousines dropping off kids in the morning. So let's get back to the gold standard. And forgive me for scratching my nose because it's just itching. And Meyer Lansky. Amazing. So who is Meyer Lansky? Meyer Lansky was a Jewish kid from Brooklyn. Why? Now, all of this unfolds a lot of history that people don't think about, but it is integral to our understanding of where we are at today. There's three events that I've charted throughout history that have incredible connections to why we are in the mess that we're in, why Trump and good people are trying to stop it. And that is the killing of Lincoln, the killing of JFK, and the gold standard. And that move right there. The Federal Reserve falls way behind. Once you understand the rest of this, the Federal Reserve ceased to be that thing of, well, it's that Federal Reserve formation in 1913 with 5 senators on Christmas Eve with Woodrow Wilson illegally and all that stuff. No, there's a lot more to it than that. Have you ever seen the show Peaky Blinders?
I have not.
Peaky Blinders is a show on Netflix. It's incredibly, a lot of bad language, a lot of bad scenes, but it's based on true stories, and it's based on post-war World War I London, which was where everything began to happen. And the reason it began to happen is because all the money was based there.
Sure.
And it's a great series. It's one of the best things ever made, but it is, if you got a soft stomach or soft ears, you do not want to listen to that or watch it. I will not let my wife and daughter watch it. But it is real. Cillian Murphy, who just won the Academy Award for Oppenheimer
Uh-huh.
is the main character in that, and it's incredibly well done. But so you get back to London, and so now you're but nobody knows why Meyer Lansky came to Brooklyn, New York. Well, here's the reason why. And when he gets to Brooklyn, New York in the early 1900s, he's in a neighborhood with two guys that want to test his mettle. And their names are Bugsy Malone
Yep.
and Lucky Luciano. And now, why did Bugsy Malone, Italian, even though that was his name, and Lucky Luciano end up in Brooklyn? Again, you got to find out what happened. The Vatican owned most of Italy. And in the last half of the 19th century, the powers that be in England wanted to diversify that land out of the Vatican's hold, even though they were running the finances for the Vatican. And they created a civil war in Italy to get all the people of Italy to then take back land from the Vatican. So not in the history books on purpose, because it's very pivotal who was involved and what all happened. But that's why all the Italian immigrants started coming to America.
Uh-huh.
And so as a part of that, Lucky Luciano and Bugsy Malone's families land in Brooklyn. They grow up there and they meet Meyer Lansky. And Bugsy and Meyer, Bugsy had a talent for organization and making deals. Lucky Luciano was muscle. He had a talent for killing people and leaning on people and collecting money.
Right.
But they needed a money guy. Enter the Jew, Meyer Lansky. And so the three of them at an early age, I mean middle school, begin to start all kinds of organized crime activities. And they grow up and they start making money and they're working their businesses. Have you ever heard the term laundering?
I have.
Guess who invented laundering? It wasn't the muscle guy and it wasn't the organizational guy. It was the Jewish guy.
Of course.
Invented money laundering, and it was literally buying laundromats because it was a cash business. And they bought laundromats in Indiana and Ohio and Michigan and place. And they would clean their money through literal laundromats, which is where the term laundering comes from. That's Meyer Lansky. So they build their enterprise. They're illegal. They're killing people. They're whacking people. The government, honest government, is trying to stop them at different times. And you get to the 1930s, and you have a guy named General Leslie Groves. You ever heard that name?
I have not heard that name, no.
General Leslie Groves was the guy picked by FDR to be in charge of the atomic bomb, which began in the late 1930s. And it began in the Empire State Building, which is why it's called the Manhattan Project.
Uh-huh.
And Groves is picked to lead that. Now, there's very few people that know that, but it's important that you know that Eisenhower and Douglas MacArthur both knew about it.
Right.
Okay, so put that off to the side. So they begin the Manhattan Project, and General Leslie Groves knows he's got to get the greatest minds he can get, the greatest scientists. He's talking to Einstein. Einstein's going, they're all in Europe, and they're all Jewish. You got to get the Jewish scientists out of Europe.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, who could even help you do that? And Einstein knows the Jew that can do stuff like that. His name is Meyer Lansky. So Groves, who's going to be in charge of the atomic bomb, goes to Meyer Lansky and says, can you help me get the talent out of there? He goes, yes, I'm an American. Yes, I'll do that. He brings all the scientists. Oppenheimer was already in America. He's getting all these Jewish scientists out of Europe for Groves. So now Groves owes him a favor, so to speak. So then the war starts. All of this is tied to why did Nixon take us off the gold standard?
Right.
Because there's this thread of history that people don't catch, and then they just go, well, Nixon was a bad guy or Nixon was compromised. No, it was neither of those. Neither of those. And so it all strings together with this. So now the war starts, and the Nazis are infiltrating New York. And nothing that FDR or his generals do can stop the infiltration of New York. So FDR at one point goes to Groves and says, we need some help. They got spies in New York, and we can't catch them. So who does Groves know that might know something about the docks in New York City? Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky says, well, I'm not the guy for that, but my business partner, Lucky Luciano, is the guy to talk to. And they said, well, let's get Lucky. They said, well, sorry, he's doing 50 years just now on a state crime in New York. And you're going to have to get him out of jail for this to work. So they say, all right, we'll get him moved here. He's only been in jail for a short while. And in a year or two, if he helps us, we'll get him out of jail. So now Meyer's got his business partner coming back out of jail, Lucky Luciano, the muscle guy. He was in jail for murder.
Right.
And so they get him moved to the nice place in New York City so he's like, yeah, I know the guy. I can get the guy. So within days, they've got 19 German spies. They found them all. They know where they are. They get them all. They take them themselves. They kill 18 of the 19. The 19th one I forget right now is a really interesting story on its own, but it's not germane to why are we off the gold standard. So now Groves is the hero with FDR, and Meyer Lansky now has another chip in the game with both Groves and FDR. His business is thriving. You go through World War II, you get to 1944. Everybody, so now you got in the summer of 1944, you have the Democratic National Convention ongoing. Obviously, FDR is getting ready to run for his fourth term, and there's no challenges to that. But they had a separate vote back then for the vice president. And his vice president, everybody knew FDR was not going to make it through the next 4 years. And so whoever was going to be the vice president was going to be president. And so Lansky now, because of his rise, I mean, not Lansky, Groves, because of what he's done for FDR, because he's working on the Manhattan Project, and because of the jealousy and whatever else is there between him and Eisenhower and MacArthur, knows that if this guy, the vice president, who's very aligned with Eisenhower and MacArthur, that he's going to have problems. Groves can already see this because he's not just thinking in terms of getting the bomb ready and trying to be the hero of World War II. He's thinking about what happens after this. So he's positioning himself because, as most people know, the high-level generals are just as much in politics as they are in anything.
Oh, yeah. You can't get to a certain place without that being the case.
Yeah. And so then Lansky goes to his buddy, who's a guy named Jimmy Byrne. If you look him up, B-Y-R-N-E. He's kind of like, he was like Speaker of the House without being Speaker. I don't think he was Speaker, but he was the most powerful congressman in the U.S. Congress and wielded a lot of power. Why? I never studied, but I'm sure we could find that out. So he goes to his buddy. Now, they've just had the third vote for the vice president, and the current vice president is ahead and getting ready to get the nomination the next morning. And he's a friend with Eisenhower and MacArthur. So Groves gets with Byrne. Byrne does a backdoor deal, and they kick this guy out. This is the beauty of American politics. And knowing that they have to substitute for him, and they have to have somebody that they can 100% control. And who did they suggest? And who then took the nomination as vice president?
You tell me.
Harry S. Truman.
How about that?
That's how Truman got into power.
General Truman.
Well, he was when he was Navy. I think he was Navy.
Maybe he was commander. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't remember what it. But so they choose Truman. I think he was a senator. I think he was a senator at that point. Okay. Pretty sure he was a senator. And so they choose Truman because they know they can control him, and he's aligned with Groves and with Byrne. And so now Truman's vice president. The war ends. Roosevelt dies. Truman's the president. Eisenhower and MacArthur are still all over getting rid of Groves, to the point that they work out something and they effectively get rid of Groves, who ends up, General Leslie Groves, ends up going into what? This is how we got our mess right here. He goes into the military industrial complex. Truman forms the CIA. They formed the United Nations. They're in with all the people out of Europe. They're all controlled. They're all in that, and they're doing all of that. And so they put together the CIA. By the way, if you fast forward to 1963, when JFK is killed, 3 weeks after that, in papers all over the United States, Harry Truman ran ads saying, I messed up. We need to get rid of the CIA. He didn't say the CIA did it, but he ran ads in papers on his own nickel all over the United States. He knew he'd been duped with the CIA.
Right.
So now you've got General Leslie Groves kicked out and he goes into the military, and he goes into a company called Sperry. And Sperry begins now, because of all of his connections, he's getting military contracts and government contracts. And then Sperry actually buys another company, and I forget the name, but it becomes the Sperry Rand Corporation, which you may have heard of that growing up. Major military industrial complex company in the 50s. And they get the contract for the first big military government computer systems, which was called Sperry Rand Univac. Everybody's heard of Univac.
Right.
Well, they don't know how to build it. And so Groves is needing technological help, scientific help. So who does he call? Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky.
Meyer's got all the answers, man.
Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky goes, yes, I have all the mathematicians and all the people that can put together the major computer systems, blah, 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 blah. But Meyer Lansky is smart enough even then to know, well, the way this works, they're all going to be using this. IRS, Army, Navy, U.S., a thing called PROMIS, which was an acronym, PROMS, I think, or PRL, or it stands for them. Every state attorney general used it. It was all hooked into the same system, and Meyer Lansky understood the term backdoor. And so he builds something. He has all the scientists build something so that he has backdoor access to the Sperry Rand Univac systems for everything in the military, everything in every crime being committed in every state, so that he can help all of his friends in his organization. Meanwhile, you still have good attorney generals and good U.S. attorney generals and good cops and good trying to stop the mob, especially in the 1950s. Also, going back to Godfather 2, they show the hearings in front of Congress that Michael Corleone went before in that. And so they're so everybody's making deals, everybody's doing things illegal, everybody's trying to arrest somebody else, and this keeps going until 1968, when Richard Nixon, who was working for Eisenhower as vice president, gets in, and he knows, I got to get Lansky. Well, Israel was a nation then, right? And Israel had a thing then, I think they still do, that if you're a Jew, you come there, there's no extradition treaty with any country. Right. If you're Jewish, you come here. So where does Meyer Lansky escape to? Israel. Nixon gets in office. He hires John Mitchell, big Watergate figure. He says, go get Lansky. So Mitchell makes an appointment to go speak to Meyer Lansky in Israel, who's friends with, if I recall correctly, at that point, the president was Golda Meir, the female president. Where was she born? Ukraine. No, another story. So all of this ties together. And so Lansky is sitting there, and he knows that Mitchell has made an appointment coming to Israel. And Golda Meir and the other people, whatever they called their attorney general, I forget, it had a different name. He has a meeting with them because Mitchell's requested access to him. And he goes in and he tells them this. He goes, you know what I'm going to do? They said, what? He said, I'm going to tell them everything. And they went, why would you do that? He said, that's the best way to protect myself. I'm tired of hiding this. And they said, well, what is everything? And he tells them, I have access to every transaction in the U.S. government, in the U.S. military, in the IRS. Every case in almost every state had the PROMIS software invented by Sperry Rand, and I have access to all of that. So this meeting takes place, I believe it was 1969, and Mitchell goes over there, and Mitchell turns sheet white. And now he comes back and tells Nixon, who turns sheet white because they're like, oh my God, this guy sees everything we do.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
So now they have to change the system.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere in that, Henry Kissinger gets involved and they make the decision, well, we have to have a whole new system of money. It can't be based on gold. We got to replace the software. But he's got every transaction we've ever done. And so they make the decision to go from the gold-backed dollar to the petrodollar. And that's why we got taken off the gold standard. Not because Nixon was crooked, because he was not crooked, actually. The Watergate thing was a ruse. It was all done to set up Nixon.
Yeah.
So that's why we have the system that we have, which is the petrodollar, which Trump, by saying I'm limiting credit cards to 10%, which he needs the Congress to codify it. They won't, because they're all crooked and they're all paid. But if he seems to have a knack for getting what he wants.
Uh-huh.
So what he's signaling to there is that I am in control of the interest rates, because the Federal Reserve is at the center of the money supply. Right. But credit cards are the center of the money flow. They're the center of the money flow. The Fed is printing the money and loaning it to us, but the credit card system is at the center. It's the hub. So when he drops the credit rates there, the interest rates there, it spreads to every facet of society. If he gets away with it, I'm sure they're going to sue him. I'm sure they'll get some federal judge to support their side.
That's a deep old rabbit hole too, though, Tim. That's a deep old rabbit hole when you start talking about a fiat currency that is controlled by a fiat credit card system that's just promise after promise. It's all going to be broken. We're living in a pile of dreams that are just can be blown away at any time.
Well, that goes back to how we ended up in the Federal Reserve System and all of that, and it was all a part of. So that whole thing that Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano, they were in the corruption side of what was going on, which is really well documented in Peaky Blinders. You ever seen the actor Tom Hardy? You know who that is? Yeah, really good actor. He plays the head of the Jewish mob in London in the second season of that. I think it's the greatest character ever on any show, movie ever. It's amazing. But that's another whole deep rabbit hole. So now we've got Trump wanting to bring down the interest rates, which he's trying to do essentially by executive fiat, by hitting the center of the economy, center of the money flow, which is the credit card system. If he succeeds in that, which I hope he does, then you're going to see it start to drop in other places. He's even said, I want a 1% interest rate for home buyers. Because what he doesn't want to do is all the people that have homes that have gone up abnormally over the last 5 to 8 years, because the corporate buying has created
BlackRock and
State Street and Vanguard are buying up so many homes. I read that last year corporate sales of all homes sold were 40%.
Yeah.
Well, that puts an unnatural demand on the housing market that drives up prices. Right?
Sure. And we also have 30 million-ish illegal immigrants here in the United States. And so now there's also a housing shortage on top of that. This is a multi-tiered thing.
Well, and they planned all this out. All of this is planned. And so he's doing everything he can do. But he's just one guy. He's got some help from some of the people there. It looks like, I don't trust any of them, but Rubio seems to be doing some good things, and Besson and Treasury seems to be doing some good things. The thing that's out there that nobody gives much airtime to is the sovereign fund. Have you know what that is? You heard of that?
No.
Okay, so the sovereign fund, most countries have a sovereign fund. When we gave over the rights, you brought up the Federal Reserve in Christmas Eve 1913.
Yeah.
When we gave over the right to control our money supply to the Federal Reserve, a private bank, never audited, we excuse me, sir. Excuse me. We gave over the right to control the money supply at that point. I'm sorry. I coughed and lost my train of thought. What was I bringing up there? Do you remember?
You were talking about the Federal Reserve and bringing over the money supply before that.
Right. Yeah, I forgot. I had a point that I was going to bring in. So
Well, let me throw you a curve, and maybe it'll bring it back.
Sure.
We were
Okay.
talking about the gold standard a few minutes ago, and I just saw yesterday something that kind of blew my mind, a little bit amazing. That is, there's now been an audit ordered on our gold, and it's even including gold Fort Knox. It just happened yesterday. Have you seen
I missed that? No.
Yeah. So that means Fort Knox is getting ready to be audited top to bottom, but that also means the Federal Reserve is going to be audited as well. And I just saw that yesterday. I think that probably could be something we could research and come back maybe in a couple of days. But that's leading towards something with the gold standard. There's something happening with gold right now.
Right. So, man, that gets into all kinds of things with the U.S. Treasury and gold-backed currencies and things like that. I know
Something
a guy
major just hit.
Pardon me?
Something major just hit.
Well, I know a guy that has a gold mine in Uganda who has his own smelting facility in Abu Dhabi, who has his own bank, what's called a minerals bank in Nevada. And he is a connected dude. His background is amazing, but he says, yeah, absolutely. They're getting ready to shift everything to gold-backed currencies. I'm getting prepared for all of that. I'm mining gold, smelting gold, and importing gold to a minerals bank in Vegas in a building that he bought from. There used to be Howard Hughes, where every wall in the building is 18-inch thick concrete steel reinforced concrete. So the whole building is essentially a vault. And
well, in the last several years, there's been a lot of things happening under the radar when it comes to gold, including gold underneath the Vatican. And a lot of that's been changing hands quietly. I think we're about to see something big, but to see an audit of the entire Federal Reserve and our gold system in the U.S. tells me something major is on the very quick horizon. Something to take.
Well, I hope so. And the price of silver going up is really good.
$87 yesterday or something like that.
Did it hit 87? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, let's shift gears. We'll come back to that. Let's talk about what's going on in the country right now, the Minnesota situation. So you got these ICE guys who do not need a warrant. They do not need a warrant to go after people.
Right.
So that's a lie. You got professional agitators. I was watching a thing today. They're showing all these people that are really yelling, and now what they're yelling is, get our guns. It's time to go to war.
Right.
It's time for civil war. The gun ranges are reporting that a lot of leftist blue-haired women are now in the gun ranges starting to fight.
I know. I see that.
You had the movies that they put the Obama's name on it called Civil War, which was what's called predictive programming, because they want us to end up in civil war. And I know that all of us Second Amendment guys and Patriot guys go, come on, that's a war you don't want. And I'm sure part of that's true, but none of us really want it.
No.
And it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. All we want is to be able to take care of our families and work hard and get the results of that reward and not have it go.
Yeah, again, that goes back to the American dream, Tim, that we always thought was there. I've said this time and time again, we don't have the freedom that I thought we had. We have a form of freedom. They give us just enough carrot out front to make us keep moving forward, but we don't have the freedom that I thought we had. And you're talking about some of that right now. It's been going on for decades, if not for hundreds of years.
Do you know 107?
I do.
Yeah. So we were sitting there talking to him in Dallas a few years ago, about two and a half years ago now. And we were telling him what we were doing with the Freedom Place technology and process and systems and everything. And his wife, Jennifer, was sitting there and she goes, I don't understand, because it's so big and so simple at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes you have to get by what you think it's going to be or what you think it is, because it's never happened before. It's never existed before. And he sat there and he finally looked at her. He goes, what these gentlemen have done, Jennifer, is they've reinvented the American dream. Mm-hmm. And that's what that is. And so we use that phrase a lot now, that we've reinvented the American dream. And we could talk, we're talking about money and gold. Let's talk about a solution. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
And we were going to talk about what's going on in Minnesota, and it's all tied to this. They want us to have a civil war. They want to destroy the country. They want the killings to happen. They're going to kill them whether a well-intentioned ICE agent shoots somebody or not. People are going to die.
Sure.
They're
They're
going
going to die right and left.
yeah, they'll blame it on they'll easily kill their own people and blame it on ICE agents.
Mhm.
In fact, I think that's the next thing you're going to see. I think you're going to see a mass killing, and they're going to just blame it on the ICE agents. And then they want the pretext for civil war. They have 3 million people on the payroll just as protesters.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
all this money that's been stolen, these trillions of dollars every year, have been.
Oh, sure.
They've
Sure, and
built
some of
up.
that's obvious and people don't talk about it. Just the Pentagon has never passed an audit and loses
Yeah.
$1 trillion a year, loses $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Don't know where it went.
Yeah. So that's it. So we have to have a solution. So we've got the solution, and the solution is there's an old saying called the golden rule. Everybody knows what the golden rule is. What you thought the golden rule was?
Who has the gold has the rules.
He has the gold, makes the rules.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. That's what the people with the gold want you to believe.
Right.
Because the real golden rule is this: he who makes the rules gets the gold. Now, I can give you all kinds of examples of that. But he who makes the rules gets the gold. We have an entire economy. Every government, every nation, the global economy is built on one simple thing: buying and selling. If you can buy stuff low and sell it high, you'll make a lot of money. Right?
It's true, and I don't know that I've ever figured that out personally, Tim. It seems like it's the opposite for me.
Well,
I buy high and sell low.
Do you know why? Because the people making the rules want to make it as difficult for you to get gold as possible.
Yeah.
They want to make it as difficult because if you're poor, you're controllable. If you're upwardly mobile, you're less controllable.
Mhm.
If you arrive at independent wealth and you have wealth, you're not controllable.
Right.
They can kill you, but they can't control you. Right? So, and this goes back to communism. It goes back to systems of government. It goes back to communism says everybody's got money right now. You can keep your money unless we decide to take it from you. And nobody else is ever going to make any more money unless you figure out a way to game the system. And if you do, you're one of us, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to change the rules, and the whole system is built on buying and selling. So the buying and selling is then built on what? So see how I took you on this chain from Meyer Lansky moving into Brooklyn and the Italian Civil War, bringing Muggsy Malone all the way up to how the gold got the gold standard we got taken off the gold standard in 1772. Right. There's this chain of events. All right, so the entire global economy is built on the principle of buying and selling. Buying and selling is built on one principle: advertising.
Yeah.
And so in the old days, people lived all over the place, and then they had printing presses, and then they invented magazines, and then radio and TV and billboards and all that. And that was used because people were disconnected.
Sure.
And you needed a middleman to spread the word. So big media inserts itself in the middle of what's critical in the United States, which is the buying and selling process.
Uh-huh.
Because they were needed, because we were in disparate places. We were disconnected, right? And they put themselves in the middle of the buying and selling process because they were needed.
Right.
So they are literally the brokers of all buying and selling, big media. And then 25 years ago, big tech steps in and goes, we got a better way of advertising.
Uh-huh.
And everybody said, well, you're not going to beat radio, TV, and newspapers. You know, how can you get better than that? We've always lived with this. This is the way our whole global economy rests on buying and selling. And buying and selling needs a middleman, needs a broker called media, big media. And it doesn't matter if you advertise and you don't get any sales, big media still gets their money.
Yeah.
They don't care whether you get sales or not.
Absolutely not.
And it's built on a premise that whoever gives us the most money will get the most visibility, and that's what will lead to the most sales.
Uh-huh.
That's how that whole system works. All right. And so big tech comes along and goes, look, we got a better way of doing the brokering of buying and selling. It's called clicks and impressions. So instead of you trusting ABC, CBS, and the New York Times about how many people are watching or listening or reading your ad. When somebody's on a page that your ad's on, that's called an impression, and we'll charge you for that.
Yep.
And if somebody clicks your ad and your link and goes to your website, that's called a click. We're going to charge you more for that because that's obviously more value. And everybody went, wait, I can have just pay for somebody that comes to my website versus an estimated guess at how many people might be watching a TV show, and I have no idea how many actually saw my commercial.
Right.
So all the money moves over there. And so now you've got $1 trillion in advertising, 700 billion of it are in that digital world, that clicks and impressions world, which is literally the same thing we've had for 500 years. We've just substituted big media for big tech. Big tech has come in and taken over as the new broker and the middleman for all buying and selling in the world. And they now make $700 billion a year to be the brokers of our buying and selling. What else has happened in the last 25 years? Our cell phones.
Yep.
And our emails. and then you have this thing called social media. And you got a lot of people on databases too. And so we're all connected. Nobody has sat and looked at that whole system and went, wow, there's something better here.
Yeah.
Hey, can I share a screen real quick? I'll share something with you. Hang on just a second. Let me call that up.
Tim, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to tell you, I was one of those boneheads that in the late 90s, early 2000s, why in the crap does anybody carry a phone around with them all the time? We're never going to meet them. And since we've been on for 51 minutes, I've picked my phone up 7 or 8 times to research some stuff that you and I were talking about while I'm using my computer to broadcast the show across the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to share a screen with you. Hang on. It says share screen on here. I like it. You use StreamYard, right? This is great.
I do, yeah.
You tell me if you can see that.
I can. Let me change this over. Let me add you. And let me add that. Okay.
I know why I forgot that. What I was saying about the gold thing is I didn't have my methylene blue today. That's my memory jogger, man.
Oh, yeah. You got to have that methylene blue.
I ain't got my – I just tell my wife, hey, I got to go in my room and take my meth. I'll probably – because the way I'm monitored, I'll probably have guys coming out of helicopters over my front yard here this evening after saying
yeah.
that.
Well, don't worry. They're stop by here first.
All right. So can you see this on screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is the customer acquisition system that we all live in under now. We're all connected, but this whole thing is built for the disconnected world. There's $300 billion still going into television, radio, newspaper, and outdoor. See that?
Yep.
$700 billion into that digital advertising world, clicks and impressions. But they're also spending $1.2 trillion on gift cards. We spend $1.2 trillion on that. There's a whole subscription economy, which everybody loves because it's steady money. But if you compare the advertising portion of this, which is $1 trillion, to what the business has to spend, coupons, rebates, and discounts. So they're spending $1 trillion in this connected world on media, big tech and big media, that is built to broker our buying and selling because we were disconnected, right?
Right.
But to make that work, they got to spend $3 trillion on coupons, rebates, and discounts. So they're already giving 3 times as much money to people, because that's what this goes to, as they're spending on big tech and big media to broker our buying and selling. And then they spend about $500 billion a year on commissions. This is just the United States. So that's how much is in the customer acquisition system.
So you're telling me there's $3 trillion in coupons, rebates, and discounts.
This is
Brother,
a discount.
I don't know that I've ever cut a coupon in my life, and I maybe have used one rebate in my whole life.
The discounts is where they advertise so they get you to come in and buy the $50 item for $40.
So you're talking about a loss leader there.
Yeah. Their
Okay.
discounts is most of that, but rebates and coupons will come quickly get up to $1 trillion.
Wow.
So what they're telling you with this, if everybody just stopped and rises above this thing and goes, wait, why are we still following this buying and selling system based on a disconnected world when we're all connected and we're hyper connected now? There's anybody can't get to through social media now.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the right message to the right person at the right time, anybody can get to anybody. But what we don't have is something that makes all these highways that we have built that are there navigable so that we no longer need this $7.2 trillion system.
Right.
But on the far right, you've got $500 billion in commissions. Is there a business alive that will not pay a commission to somebody? Everybody will hire commission-only salespeople.
Well, sure.
You say, I'll pay you 10%, I'll pay you 20%. You're going to pay them what you can afford. It doesn't cost you anything unless you get a sale. You've already got that margin built into the product. And so everybody, any business, small or large, including Walmart, will pay sales commissions.
My entire last 30 years, I've lived off of commissions. I get it.
There you go. So now that system, this is all the money spent, and it comes out the other pipeline like this. There's breakage, waste, big tech takes their share, big media takes their share. There's all kinds of middlemen involved in this process. And like in the gift card industry, the middlemen will take 20 to 30% of each gift card sold. And then they get the one thing that this $7.2 trillion wants is sales. So could we at least agree that this seems like there's a lot of waste in this system?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we just looked at it and went, wait, we got a better way because businesses are already trained for this $700 billion in digital advertising to buy keywords and to say, well, I want to sell my pizza in Shreveport, or I want to sell my online product to the whole world. They know where they want to sell it. And then they just want people looking for that product to find their ad.
Mm-hmm.
And that costs $700 billion. Most people don't realize that last year, Amazon got $70 billion just for clicks and impressions.
Right.
Amazon is 10% of that. YouTube and Facebook and Amazon together are over 80% of the entire digital advertising world. You have three companies. Sound familiar? Remember the old world of TV advertising that dominated? What do we have? ABC, CBS, and NBC forever.
Yeah.
So now we have Facebook, Amazon, and Google.
And PBS was funded by the government, so they weren't part of that.
And they're gone now.
Yep.
Amen. All right. So we just said, well, look, they're all paying this money. Hang on a second. It's a little blurry, but it's all the same money. We're going to just take that money and put it through the system and create what we call a risk-free rebate competition. So it's the same thing that businesses are used to doing, buying keywords, choosing their geo, and they pay per click and per impression. But since businesses are already paying $3 trillion, since they're already paying $3 trillion to people, since they have all this waste in this system, let's just make it 100% efficient because we know they all want to pay commissions.
Right.
And they all will. So this is how it works. Here's the new American economy that we have built. The old one had a bidding war for visibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they pay the money right now to media, and big tech. And they all want sales, but they have to pay rebates and coupons and discounts. And they do this process over and over and over again. And the more money you have, the more you're going to win. Period.
Okay.
Walmart spends $4 billion a year on advertising. $4 billion with a B. They spend $12 billion on discounts, coupons, and rebates.
Wow.
So they're already paying their money to people. So we said, well, look, let's do it a different way. We have that. Remember, I just showed you a risk-free rebate competition. Same process. Somebody wins the sale, but the money doesn't come out until after the sale is made, and it goes to 4 different people that are virally connected to you. So if you go on to Freedom Place and you say, I want tires in Shreveport, let's just use that as an example. I want tires in Shreveport. Let's say you're from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I'll show you that here in a second. If you bought those tires, the 4 people, the person whose link you clicked to join for free will make the rebate that was the winning rebate to win visibility for the tire store the exact same way that tire store would have won visibility with Facebook and Google, except they're paying for clicks and impressions, hoping for sales. And over here, they're paying the same money, the same process, and when they get a sale is when the money comes out. And if you're with a buyer, the person whose link you click to join for free would get a commission, because the rebate doesn't get divided. It gets multiplied, and then it gets converted in commissions. Because every business will pay a commission. And 4 people, the person whose link you click to join for free, the person whose link they click, the person whose link they click, and the person, 4 people. So everything you buy from businesses paying for sales makes the same 4 people money, because nobody ever thought, Glenn, of taking this whole process, this post-sale process, putting it pre-sale, and saying, look, we're going to pay people instead of businesses, instead of big tech and big media. And we're going to have that money go to people after the sale, so that what happens? More sales happen. Because what happens when you're sitting in Tacoma and you get a $10 commission or a $5 commission on tires bought by somebody you don't know in Shreveport? You post on your social media, you got to try this. I just made $5 or 10 or whatever it is of somebody I don't know buying tires in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I don't know them. I don't know the tire store. And all I know is I'm making money from people I don't know who are buying products from businesses that are only paying for sales. And we destroy this entire system. This is new rules right here, which once you get more sales, what happens? You get more commissions. And it's called a perpetual loop ecosphere. So let me show you how that works. There's your tire store in Houston. You're driving through, you need tires. You're from Las Cruces, so you buy them. Boom. 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 The 4 people that are connected to you each made the commission. Whatever this rebate is multiplied. It's not divided. So it's a $5 rebate. These 4 people, and then Free to Place makes the 5th one. So 5 commissions are created in a risk-free sale competition that does what? It helps the business get notoriety to get more sales. So these people begin the advertisers. So if these people all buy, then more people find out about it. And so now you've taken all the risk out of the customer acquisition model, that 7.2 trillion model. You take all the risk out of it. And now people are getting the money after a sale is made. And it works like this. So you were in Las Cruces. There's those people like that. You had signed up through your friend's link in Shreveport, who signed up through his friend's link in Miami, who had signed up through her friend's link in Tacoma, who signed up through his friend's link in Des Moines. And that's how the whole system works. Everybody joins for free and passes the member page. So I'll take that off the screen now if you want to take me off sharing.
Sure. So, Tim, even beyond that, it's better for the businesses, but it's better for the consumers in a lot of ways too, because the cost of doing business has gone down tremendously at that point.
Well, I don't know that you could say the cost of business goes down, but once you take all the predictability out of unpredictability out of the model, when things are predictable is when things grow. What does the stock market hate? It hates unpredictability. What does it love? It loves predictability.
Sure, but it almost has to go down if you're getting rid of advertising, pay-per-click, pay-per-view.
Well, you're creating a bidding war to give people more money. So now what's happening is
a couple of things as well. Because that's a bidding war, and because you know exactly what the cost of a sale is going to be, very well that'd be lowering the cost of goods to our consumers.
So the way it works is now you're the other tire store in Shreveport, but you're not as big as that tire store. They're offering a $10 rebate, and you go, man, I can, which is actually $50. Right. And you're going, man, I don't know if I can compete with that $50 rebate. Well, you can compete with it for 10 sales. So you say, I'm going to do 10 sales with this. Boom. I'm going to do $12 because you got to do whole dollars. I'm going to do $12 on my rebate. And so now all of a sudden you go to the top of the list and everybody goes, oh, I'd rather get that guy. Well, because you're making 4 people money and off of a rebate. And so what we've done is we said, first of all, if you've ever done a rebate and tried to go fill out all the forms and everything to claim it.
I have. That's why I don't do them.
Yeah, it's like 1% of the people actually follow through on getting their rebates. It's an incredibly low percentage. And so because it's difficult, but that doesn't create goodwill. So we're taking all that wasted money. We put it so it's after the sale. We take all the risk out of the model. Do we care if the cost of doing business goes down? Yes, that would be great. What's more important is they're in a bidding war to give people more money. Because the more money you give to people, the more people want to buy your products. The more
Right.
people find out about your products. But the little guy can now compete with the big guy. Maybe they can't do a $12 rebate on every sale. But this is all built inside an ecosphere that is AI driven. So the way it's actually going to be working this fall, because we're going to start signups here really quickly, and we got to do signups now. The way it's going to work, you're just going to go to our AI is called Liberty. You go to Liberty, it's a lady's voice. You say, look, I'm looking for tires. Well, I see you're in Shreveport. Would you like me to check the gift card platform and the deals platform both for you? Because our deals platform's already built. It's got over 300,000 business. Walmart's already on it. Thousands of local businesses ready to go. We're just getting ready to get all the people signed up for free. And you go to the AI and say, I want to buy tires. He goes, all right, I see you're in Shreveport. And I can check the deals platform. And he goes, okay, I got 5 companies in Shreveport that have deals. I have 10 companies that are advertising on the products platform. And I have 7 of those actually have gift cards. Now, our gift card platform, every gift card is sold for 10% off. You'll never pay full price for gift cards. That's a huge $1.2 trillion industry that you can't disconnect if you're going to revamp the rules for this buying and selling.
Right.
And so now your AI is just going to go, I can do all that for you. Would you like me to schedule the appointment for you? I'm looking at, you can hook in your calendar if you want. And then our AI is built on Bible-based principles. And if you ask it where oil comes from, it's not going to tell you dinosaurs. I assure you that. And
Let's just talk about that real quick. It's a renewable source from the earth. It's not dinosaurs.
well, of course. Or how could a pump in Beaumont still be pumping oil for 115 years now?
Exactly.
Same pump, worked over a few times, but pumping in the same hole, oil still coming out of it.
Yeah. Tim, you and I have known each other for closing on 3 years now. I can't believe that. And we've talked about this product pretty often, this invention, if you will, inventing a new way of doing business.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning things like Walmart and some other stuff like that. Have you figured out a way to level the playing field? Because one of Walmart's biggest setbacks or drawbacks is going into a town and wiping out mom and pop.
Right. So we can't bring back all those businesses that got beat by Walmart because they had better systems and better everything. And Sam Walton was a genius for sure. I have spoken to a guy who's now since deceased. His name was Bill Fields. He was the CEO of the Walmart stores. He's like, yeah, man, a Walmart would be in that. This thing's been in the works for a number of years, but he's like, yeah, why wouldn't all Walmart advertise on there if we're only paying for sales? I said, how many people you need? I said, would you do it if I only had 1 million people on there? He goes, yeah, absolutely. Of course. Why wouldn't we? He said, we're only paying for sales.
Yeah,
So that's Walmart. But what we don't want is what you just said. So we have a products platform. We have a gift card platform. We have a deals platform. We have a classifieds platform where no business is allowed to advertise. It's blockchain secure. So secure transactions based on that. You don't have to worry about somebody coming over to your house to kill you to get your whatever you're selling, your used tires or whatever it is, stuck on tires today. And but we looked at that and we said, well, yeah, but I don't want all those businesses competing with Walmart. Your question. So we have another whole platform. It's called Bigs because it's big business, right? Bigs, big business. So the Walmarts and the Targets and the Dick's Sporting Goods and the Cabela's and the Bass Pro Shops and the Marshalls and I don't even know all the different big stores out there anymore. My wife.
Well, there's less of them now than there was 10 years ago. I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. They all compete with each other. So they're all bidding rebates so that we're starting to get the money off of their ad dollars, which are now rebate dollars that the system converts to commission dollars so that they can get promotion off of giving people more money. Because when they do a coupon deal to somebody, they have to advertise it. And when somebody redeems a coupon or a rebate, nobody tells anybody anything. When they do sales discounts, because they have to do sales discounts in order to move the product, and they have to advertise that heavily so that you'll come to the stores to then take advantage of the discounts. We take that ability and take all that money and say, look, just make it go to people after a sale and everybody wins except big tech and big media, which nobody likes. And so when you say we need to buy American, absolutely we do, but that ain't going to stop this. You know, I know companies that are doing incredible things with rebates now or cashback rewards. Cashback is another number that's in that. Cashback rewards. I love cashback rewards, but only one person is getting that.
Yeah.
And it does nothing to it. Actually, if you do your research on this, and as you can imagine, I've done a lot of research on it, cashback rewards are the biggest trap of all. It's a part of the system that keeps you hooked on the system. It's a part of the system that thinks you're getting something back from the system that you deserve.
Right.
But you're still supporting the same system. The same system stays intact with cashback rewards. Everybody that's in place loves cashback rewards. Ours is going to defeat that whole system. And it does it very simply. Everybody joins for free and you pass it on. Because the same thing, like those 4 people that when you bought those tires in Shreveport, and those 4 people made a commission off of those tires that you bought. You get to pass your link for free to anybody you want, as many as you want, and then everything they buy will make you a commission. From businesses only paying for sales.
So I can send this to more than 4 people. I can send this to 40 people.
You can send it to 1 million people. You're actually capped at 1 million people, but you're not giving them something that makes you money. You're giving them something that makes them money because when they pass it to all their people, they make money off of everybody they pass it to.
Right.
But so do you. So you got 2 waves of tracking. But those people didn't pass it to people just so that they could make money. They passed it to them so that they could make money.
Sure.
So everybody they pass it to makes them money.
It's a great biblical principle, my friend. It's given unto others.
And we track 4 waves. And so you could sign up. The predictive modeling on this would blow your mind if you signed up 58 people. It'll blow your mind because you're not just making money off of what your people buy. We got all kinds of deals and subscriptions and things on there. And you can pass it to Etsy sellers. Do you think Etsy sellers would like to be able to sell risk-free?
Sure.
Yes, they would. Shopify sellers, there's over 10 million between the 2 of those.
The ones I think about is me, concert promoters and artists and things like that.
Everybody that wants to sell something can be on there, but you also making money off of real estate agents. You think a real estate agent would like to be on this system risk-free? They don't have to pay any commissions. They pay a one-time subscription to $29.95 a month, unlimited selling forever, right? No, they're not having to pay all these fees because the big realtors will pay thousands and thousands of dollars a month to all the different platforms, Homes.com, Zillow, Trulia, all that.
I think Zillow's $200 to $300 per realtor or something along that line on a monthly basis.
So ours is $29. Because here's what we've got: a real estate platform. Remember, we've got a multi-platform ecosphere, and the real estate platform is set up so that the realtors can sell to this big network of people that are there as a result of somebody passing them a link for free and joining for free and passing it on. So we move all the people out of this broken, corrupt system, that $7.2 trillion acquisition system. And now we say, okay, yeah, the realtors can sell risk-free here too, but their risk is $29.95 a month. Well, the reason Zillow and Homes.com and Trulia and all those companies don't charge $29.95 a month is because they got to make a lot of money off of that real estate platform.
Right.
That we don't. Nobody's thought of taking the real estate transaction process and put it in the middle of all this ecosphere, a multi-platform ecosphere, so that you don't have to make, because Zillow only has one place to make money off of those real estate agents. That's it. Because they're not going to charge the buyers. So we've built this incredible multi-platform ecosphere to, back to what you said, that brings down the cost of doing business. There's no more risk for them. It's just $29.95 a month. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's kind of if you ever look for a house online and you say, well, I'm interested in moving to the West Palm Beach area. You're not going to look at one house online, which is going to be the guy paying the most money to get the first ad on your search result. You're going to look at 50 or 100 or 500. So we don't think it's really necessary in the search for a home, especially, or even an apartment or a rental, to pay all the fees to be the first listing, because people are going to look at what they like the most and what fits their budget. And nobody's going to just say, well, there's a picture of a home, I'll go buy that.
Right.
So I believe that's where we begin to solve more of the problem, for sure, of reducing the cost of business. So if we reduce the cost for real estate agents, we can reduce the cost of everything, because everything connects to that home.
Do you have an anticipated date when you're going to be able to launch this product?
We are trying to get this out the door in the next week to begin the signups. We're going to have soft launch signups. We're going to go to a few people to get it started. Those people will be given lots of advantages And one of those advantages, among other things, is they get to put 1 million people into those 4 waves. But all you're doing, you're not, it's not affiliate marketing. You're not having to constantly market a link. You don't care what people buy or when they buy it. You don't care. You're just getting them to be a part of your network for this new way of buying, selling, earning, and giving. And
Imagine this. What would it be like if everybody that you knew was able to have a link from you to Amazon, and you got paid on everything that they bought on Amazon? I mean,
right. We've used that example before. If you went back to the beginning of Amazon, you said, look, instead of just start with your ecosphere and let everybody join for free and let them pass a link. You don't care. It doesn't matter what they buy. You don't care about that. They go, well, I don't understand that. I like affiliate marketing. I want somebody to have a link and they go and there's some shoes and they buy the shoes. And no. That's not what you want. You want everybody to be invested without having to pay any money. And now you pass your link. And what if you got 50,000 people, which is a small number because there's 100 million people in America alone paying the prime $14.95 a month and higher. 100 million just in America.
Yeah.
So what if you had 50,000 people who took on the prime later on, paid the $14.95 a month, and you made $1 a month off of each one of them? You think you're going to be loyal to Amazon then?
Sure. Absolutely. And you'd be loyal to a lot of these women that make you millionaire because they're stuck on Amazon, baby. They got that ching.
Well, I can go all day on this, but I've already talked way more than we said. So,
well, I appreciate you doing. Hey, I want to talk real quickly with you. I want you to be a part of this, and then I want you to meet you at the end of the show backstage. We'll schedule another time. I think there's some stuff we still need to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you know why I'm here. Finish this fight. You know what my mission is, and my mission is putting exoskeletons on paralyzed veterans. You know my boy Joshua Holm that we took to New York last year. I'm going to play this for you guys real quick because I want to remind you, if you haven't seen it, then hang tight with me for just a moment. Here we go.
So I had a 60 millimeter mortar that landed 3 feet in front of me. And so it didn't cook off. And so it technically, they would consider it to be a dud, but it wasn't a dud. It had a broken propeller on it. I got pictures of it. I carry with me and stuff. It's about the size of a 1.5-liter bottle, but it has kill radius about 25 meters, 20 to 25 meters. So basically, if that round would have went off, then confirmed dead would have been 20 to 25 meters. Been 31 months since I've been able to stand on even with a brace or being able to take one single step. So it's been 31 months to the day yesterday.
And then God leaned in and he said, you know what? You're going to do a foundation. You're going to be the one to help these boys and some girls, I'm sure, get to walking again, back on their feet.
It became so real when we physically came here and I physically got to see face to face to that unit. And knowing that, I mean, like I said, it's pretty much like an avatar. I mean, I felt like I, plugged in and we became one, like I was breathing with it, like, I mean, it just incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine, I can't even describe the feeling that I have. But like, it was like deep down inside of me, it's like, you know what, I felt like I can fight again. I really am able to stand again, and I'm like, I can do this.
Like, I guess the sense of pride, like to stand tall, no matter what height you are. Not a jab at Glenn, but just to stand. Just to stand, I think is huge. We take it for granted.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was quite a trip, and for him to be in that clinical trial, and 15 minutes after we got into the clinic, he stood up and was able to walk, and walked over and hugged his wife from a standing position. Still can't hardly get through it without choking up, man.
Yeah.
But so that was a temporary thing, though. He was able to walk for 1 hour those 3 days. He put in almost 3,000 steps in the amount of time, but it's not FDA approved. So I just got notice last week that the paperwork is in with the FDA. And after talking with Wondercraft, they've told us that they want Joshua home to be the test subject. So in February, we're going to Dallas, Texas, and he's going to start being trained on the at-home model, which is much smaller and lighter than the one y'all just saw right there. And we're going to have this boy walking nearly permanently in about 6 to 8 weeks, y'all. So this next week, I'm going to be launching the full 19-minute docudrama that you just heard, the documentary that you just saw the little teaser for. And you're going to get a chance to really walk down his life's journey and his path. And we're going to do it live a week from Friday night right here on Patriot Prayer Network podcast and on the Finish This Fight show. So y'all be watching for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Tim, want to let you know, buddy, I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here and appreciate you being my buddy. I'm excited for the future with you. I'm excited to be a part of what you guys are doing. You've given me an opportunity to be a voice for you as well. And I appreciate that, my friend.
Thank you. We got to get those soldiers, those exoskeletons. That's what we're going to do. We're putting together over 10% of all the net proceeds in Freedom Place will go into helping people like that. So. Cool. Well, y'all remember tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right on the Patriot Prayer podcast on Rumble. You'll find us with Craig, the Sawman Sawyer. He is a wild dude. Guarantee if y'all ain't met him, you wouldn't want to meet him in dark in an alley. But he's also a gentle giant that loves Jesus. He's helping our children across America. So come out for that show. We want to talk to you about what he's doing. Any final words, Tim? Tell Craig I said hello, and he told me something to watch out for, and I doubt he'll remember. He was right, so I watched out for it. He's got a lot of wisdom.
He does, man. I'll let him know. And y'all, remember, Uncle Glenn loves you, and I'll see you on the other side.
Amen.
Forward, halt, left, 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 right, your left, 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 right. Bound on,
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand.